Jen.
Hello, Miss Amber. How are you?
I am fabulous because we're about to talk about a Omegaverse book that just came out, and it makes me so happy to talk books with you.
I know. I'm excited. This book is called Mile High Heat.
Welcome to Morally Gray Babes. We're your hosts, Jen and Amber, two unapologetic book addicts diving deep into the steamiest reads, hottest book boyfriends, and those spicy moments that make you blush.
Amber here, and we're not just here to talk plot twists and character arcs. We're breaking down everything from our favorite quotes to the spice levels that really bring the heat.
Expect a lot of laughs, a little cussing, and some seriously hot takes. Whether we're gushing over fictional men or dishing out the truth on what books deserve the hype, nothing is off limits.
So buckle up, Buttercup, and get ready for real, raw, and totally unfiltered book talk. Because we're the book besties you didn't know you needed.
So, Mile High Heat is a book by Sarah Blue. It is a book in the Heat Cute Omegaverse series, and this is actually book one. So, this book is, let's just do some tropes. And I'm doing this off the cuff because I just finished reading it this morning. And I would say that this is a typical Omegaverse where it's an Omega who finds a pack that's already formed, right? The pack includes three alphas. They are not together. So it is a reverse harem. It is not a wide choose, right? So it means all the guys are for the girl and they're not with each other. And it'd be kind of disturbing because two of the pack brothers actual blood brothers. So that'd be kind of disturbing. So I picked this book mainly because I have read Sarah Blue in the past. In some of those books, I found like the meet cutes were just really original. And this one was the same. This one's called Mile High Heat, which you can kind of gather is an Omega who has a heat in the Mile High Club, right? So I thought it was just a different spin on a meet cute and a Omegaverse, and I was really excited to dive into it. So it's an Omegaverse reverse harem setting. It has a unique meet cute. There is some trauma not done by the male main characters, but there is some trauma and some forms of emotional, and I would say physical abuse, but not in the sense where they're
With withdrawing
showing
attention.
affection and
Affection.
without
Yes.
giving, like, not meeting her biological needs, I guess.
Correct.
So for me, that's a form of physical abuse. So
Yes.
other things would be found family. It is a millionaire-esque vibe,
Yes.
right? Which you love.
Which is a favorite.
Yeah, so there is some trauma that some of the pack members have had, like from their families, and so they're having to deal with that as well. So that's kind of like the tropes.
Shiloh is the main female character, and she spent 2 years with a band pack. They're a band. That's pretty not great.
The pack that she finds calls them the Blink 182 wannabes. It's so stupid.
Correct.
It's so
And they
stupid.
have a name like not like Smashing Pumpkins, but Smashing or Pumpkin
Smash
something. I
punk,
don't know.
smash
Something
punk, or punk smash.
something like that.
Yeah.
So Shiloh has been feeling, unfulfilled. In fact, at one point, a doctor in the book says that she's having a difficult heat because her previous heats were quote unquote unfulfilled. And basically, she felt not enough. That is something that came up over and over in the book. And really it's because of how they treated her. But everything changes when she meets Cole, a pilot, while traveling solo on a flight home. So she breaks up with this pack and she goes on a commercial flight, which as an Omega, probably not the greatest. And she goes into heat. on the flight. And I don't want to ruin it, but I will say this is the best Mile High Club experience. It was pretty amazing. So if you read the book, you'll kind of know what I'm saying. And really, Cole is, I think he's a favorite of both of ours.
Yes.
He is a pilot. He doesn't need the money, but he was in the military and he was a pilot in the military.
He was captain in the Air Force.
He was a captain in the Air Force. That's right. So he has, just picture this, he has a beard, but he's so like, he loves her. I think he loves her from the second he meets her, which I love those things like a lot. Cole is basically the kind of alpha that I really want in an Omegaverse. Protective, obsessive in the best way, and completely devoted to Shiloh. And the chemistry between them is intense. And even though there's a bit, and there is a lot of miscommunication in this book, I want to call it out because it is not fun if you don't like miscommunication to like get through it. It wasn't as difficult as some books, but like, I don't know about you, Amber, but I was yelling at the book, tell them. I'm like,
Dude,
what are
yeah.
you doing?
Oh my gosh. We'll go
So
that. That'll be shared later.
yes. And so it basically all comes together in the end, right? That's the cool part about rom-com-y type books is like it's always a happy ending. That is one thing that I really loved. And honestly, by the time it's wrapped up, the miscommunication in the moment was very frustrating, but overall, looking at the book, it wasn't as hard as some books that we've read.
Yeah.
And the end is very satisfying. That's the blurb.
So we'll talk about the book boyfriends because that's my favorite part.
Yes.
So in the pack that she finds, we have Jonah Sorensen. I feel like that is his last name. Jonah
Good job.
comes from a very wealthy pack. He has like that spoiled brat tendencies because he was kind of born with a silver spoon in his mouth. However, he is not a brat about it. Right? Like he's spoiled, he knows he is, he does his best to share, but he's doing his best. He is the pack leader. He is so focused on finding an Omega to like really bring them together, and nobody is having it. Like the other two pack members are like,
Yeah.
F this, we don't want it. But and he's aware, he's best friends with them, but he's aware of their childhood upbringing that we won't share because it kind of gives it away. But their childhood didn't put the best alphas in their path.
It wasn't the best pack experience, I would say.
It wasn't even, they didn't even have
Not
a
even
pack.
experiencing.
Yeah, they didn't have a pack, but they just had they saw an alpha in the worst light, and they didn't want to have that be passed down to them. So they were just like, we don't want to be around Omegas. Like, they're not for us. And so they kind of, those two pack members, which is Cole and Mac, they're brothers. I want to say
I
Cole
love
is
Mac.
8 years older. Cole basically raised Mac, and then whenever he was 18, he was like, "Peace out. I'm in the Air Force. I'm like living my life." And so that's kind of what he did until he realized he needed to come back home to help his brother.
And Jonah was somebody that he went to college with.
Yes, they were college.
Yeah, that's kind of
They
how
got
that
to be
pack kind of
besties.
formed.
And
Mhm.
then, but Cole, like Jen mentioned, he's a pilot and he doesn't need to work. However, he distanced himself from the pack and from meeting all these Omegas that Jonah is trying to find. He distanced himself by flying and working. Mac, on the other hand, he distanced himself. They had a rough, like I said, childhood. And he, instead of being able to leave, he retreated inward. And so he has become really shy. He's kind of isolates himself. He's become a gamer online where people stream and pay him money to watch him play, which I still think that's ridiculous when people.
It's a Gen Z thing, I think,
I don't,
because my Gen Z kids they love watching people play games, but they
I don't
also
get
love
it.
playing games. I don't. I've asked them multiple times. They're like, it's soothing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, my kids, even today, and my kids, I think, are Gen Alphas. Oh my God, we had to look that up. So They are so cute because they were like, "Mom, do you wanna watch us play?" And I'm like, "I'm here, like, I'm reading my book, I'm here." And they were like, "Do you wanna play? We'll watch you." And I'm like, "Why would you wanna watch me play?"
I know, it's a thing. It's a
I don't
thing.
understand. Anyway, so those are the 2 boys. So Mac is very shy, he's very isolated, he's very guarded, he retreated inward, and so he is he also doesn't know his place in the pack, right? So Cole is very Cole is the one who is very strong and protective, and whenever he loves people, he protects them with all his heart and his fist. And then you have Jonah, who is charismatic, and he's the wealthy one, and he's got his business that he's running,
And
and
he loves
he
his pack. He
he
wants to
loves
fix
his
his
pack.
pack. He knows that they need an Omega. And
Yeah,
so
like
he's trying to pull them along.
and so Mac is like, he doesn't know where his place is in life or in the pack. And so the book is a lot of growth for him and behind the scenes, growing into the individual, the alpha that she needs. So basically, those are the book boyfriends. And I love it. There was no real nicknames, which really just bothers me.
Yep,
I
yep.
think there was one, it was like Sweetheart.
Sweetheart, princess.
But they
There
didn't
was a
stick to it. They, like, said it once. Like, it wasn't like
one of them called her princess all the time. And I don't remember which one, but
that
I
was
know that was a
Cole.
nickname.
Cole
Yeah.
said it, but it Cole said sweetheart. Jonah said princess, but it was just, like, once or twice. Like, it was just like, "Come on." It just made me sad. It
Yeah.
made me sad
I
that
didn't
he
I
didn't have
I
one.
didn't I felt like they did use the same nickname like a lot, but it's not to the extent of most books that we read. So when I
Yeah,
was
it
reading it, yeah,
wasn't.
because my husband always asks about nicknames. And so I was like, oh, he called her princess. Oh, he called her sweetheart.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it wasn't, like, consistent. It like,
Mm.
they only said it he said "sweetheart" once, and it was when they were in the cockpit, and then he called her princess, like, twice, and it was like
I felt like he did it, like called her princess like 7 times. I should underline them from now on.
I did. I
You
highlighted.
annotated them? You really?
I
Because I could
did.
find 6 at least.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll move
I'm
on.
like, "No." But I
Doesn't
did
matter.
say this book they did 2 things that we love. They, 1, gave us a playlist, holla. And 2, they gave us a really funny dedication,
Best dedication ever. Can
and
I
it's,
read it?
yeah, you
Oh,
read it,
okay.
go.
No, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
You mind? So it says, I literally annotated. I've never annotated a dedication, but I was like, I like this. To the bitch who snorted the entirety of my last flight. So I had to disassociate and come up with this insane book instead of getting booked for murder.
That's so
So
funny.
she's snarky. The author's snarky. I loved it.
Yes, I agree.
What about
So,
your irks?
my ergs for this book. Let's see. Can't say what I liked first. Let's say what we liked. So one of the things I want to celebrate is Brock. He's the co-pilot. I would say he was the ultimate wingman in this book. I loved how he had a couple of like lines in the very beginning, but then the author brought it back and celebrated him at the very end of the book. So I thought that was kind of good. Things I liked. I like the found family. I like that aspect. I loved the fact that she had a maternal family member who raised her and took care of her, and she had someone in her corner. Because a lot of times, Omegaverses, I feel like, don't, right? So she had someone, even though she didn't have her mom or her dad's, she at least had her grandmother. And I love that. So I loved how instantly all the guys were obsessed, right? That's in the Megaverse. I loved it. I loved the sense, like, I love the fact that she smelled like lemon pound cake. It's like one of my favorite smells. And
Ditto, 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 vanilla and lemon. Oh my God.
and so whenever it said like her smell, I was like, oh, she smells like lemon pound cake. And my husband was like, yes. So I was like, right? So that would be like an awesome
My
scent.
husband too.
Yeah.
That's
And
funny.
then, but the other, like the guys, she was like, "Oh, he smells like peppermint. He smells like citrus." I forgot what the other one smelled like, and I was like, "Well, that doesn't really go with lemon pound cake, because I don't know. I like it to when they all like make a smell that you're used to, like it's blended and it smells. I
Like
couldn't.
cake or something, yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, peppermint didn't really go with lemon pound cake for me. So I digress.
It did for her though. Let's just make note of that.
It did. She
She
did a great job.
loved the smell of all of them.
Yes, she
And
did.
did let me ask this question. I don't know if I missed it, but were they scent matches or does she not talk about scent matches because
She didn't talk
when
at all about scent matches.
okay, good. I thought I was crazy and I must have missed a part, but she
No,
loved their smell and they loved her smell and it felt
so much.
very scent match. I thought for sure they would talk about that in the book. That was a disappointment for me.
Yes, that was not
Sorry.
good. So those are things I liked. I liked the boys. I felt like now we're going into the irks. I feel like there was we talked about this because I got so annoyed about certain things. And I understand like a lot of this has to go with the book and like it has to make the story play out. Like I get it. But we have this society where these omegas are able to still fly commercially on these flights, right?
And everyone complains and looks down their nose and gets
Everybody,
frustrated.
yeah,
It was like I would feel like a pariah. Like it was not a good feeling.
it
When
was
I read the book,
not.
I was
And I was
mad.
like, well,
Mhm.
a couple of things. One, she was like, they're boarding all bonded packs and all military, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, and so I got in line. I'm like, bitch, please, you're not supposed to go in line. You're a single unbonded Omega. Why are you going? Like, I would have been upset if I was just watching her in line. And
Yes.
so she goes in line and she like gets on the plane. And so they put her in like the back of the plane in what she said
Next to a
was
bathroom.
termed the designated Omega spot. And then they put 2 alphas next to her. And I'm like, I don't live in this society, right? But this is just a hot mess. Like,
Totally.
shouldn't you have betas sitting there or other omegas sitting there around her?
Yes and yes.
Or have like a special section that is like
If you're an omega in
contained.
a pack, you sit with your pack.
Yeah. The
So
what
it
I
had to
mean, like,
be unbonded omegas in a section,
yes,
and then
or
beta.
betas. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
So I
yes.
just got very annoyed, like, and I get it, that's what triggers her. Fine, I get it. But I got very annoyed. I don't wanna share there was just I felt like so much drama in this book, and we only needed really one.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
And more of the development of their relationships and less of these
Yes.
dramas
Yes, there was
between
too
everything.
little of their relationships, the pack relationships, and a lot of external stuff that I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't understand why it was put in. Some of
Yeah,
it.
so there's drama with her ex-pack, which you kind of knew, right?
Totally.
Also didn't know how they ended up at the thing, like, I'm not gonna share, but
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they all re
The mom got them to go, I thought.
it doesn't mention it,
You mean to perform, or do you mean
to
when
perform.
Danny went
No,
to
because
her?
they
Okay,
said
I
that
thought you meant
they were performing because 'cause they're a band, they were performing, and they paid a lot of money, and it was very rare for them to do that, and I was like, "Did they know? Like, how did they know? Did they know because of"
very confused.
I got confused on how they knew, and I was like, "Maybe it's because the slip
And
up
I
when you
knew
said
it
their
was
name?"
coming. Like it would have been nice to be more of a surprise, but I knew it
Yeah,
was
I
coming
knew
also.
you knew that drama was
Yeah.
coming, and then all of a sudden you had drama with her mom and her mom's pack, and I was like,
Major
"What?
drama. And we didn't even meet her until the drama happened. And I was like, do you
We
know
did
what I
this
mean? It
doesn't
was
even need to happen."
no.
Like, she's an
Mm-mm.
afterthought. Like,
Yeah.
no, she's last season, so I didn't think that was necessary, and then the 3rd drama was something I'm not gonna share, but I just felt like that was also unnecessary, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Just let this bitch live her life," like, you know? I just got so it was like hit after hit after hit, and I was like, "I just want her to go through 1 hit and like make it really impactful, and then see the relationships grow with the alphas in her more. Like that's I want to see more of the alphas dynamics towards each other and with her. And I know we got some.
Wanted more.
I wanted more.
So my likes, one of the things that I loved Cole. But one of the things that I really that I
Yeah.
really liked is Mac's relationship with her. I thought it was so sweet, and for someone so young and being raised the way he was raised,
Yeah.
it made me feel like proud that he was so good with communicating with her. So there's a situation, and I don't think I'm giving much away. I'm hopeful I'm not. But he's a streaming star, right? He plays video games and he streams it, and that's how he makes his money. And she comes and he like walks out the door and then closes the door. So that makes her feel like he's hiding something from her, right? Because she's insecure and blah, 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 blah. And basically, he wanted to have a conversation with her about what he does, like he should have done it earlier. But he, afterwards, when she comes in, he apologizes to her. She's like, why don't you? Because she was hidden by her former pack. She was not sort of in the forefront, although people knew of her. And in this situation, she was like, I don't want to be a secret, right? Because she was in a
No.
pack for 2 years without being bonded, like, which is in my experience reading Omegaverses, that's a long time to not be bonded,
Yeah.
right? And it was very sweet. I'm not going to say how he handled it because I want you to enjoy the book.
I was
Enjoy
gonna
the
say the
book.
quote. What he says is like there's a difference between secret and private.
Secret and private. And so what he does is
Mm.
he introduces her without her being on camera,
Or saying the
introduces
name. Yeah.
basically saying, my Omega's here. You guys need to be careful. We'll be kicking out anybody that, because these are rabid fans that like him because he's gorgeous, but also for the gaming. And so they were up in arms, and he's like, I'm kicking everyone out if you're going to talk bad. Like, this is my Omega. Like, he stuck up for her, but he also communicated with her. And it
Yes.
was
It was
it
really
was
good.
nice to see, because in Omega verses typically that's the third act confusion or thing that they have to get over, is her thinking one thing and them not having conversation. And this was handled like very well. That was one of my favorite scenes. And I like you, I wanted, my irk is that I wanted more of their interaction and them getting to know each other. They were already on board. They already told her that they wanted her. She told them that she wanted them. The I love yous came, later, but it was it was fast, and yet you didn't get to see any of their relationship
The real
growing. That's what I enjoy.
the banter, the growth,
Well,
like
and I
all the
think
stuff.
my guess is the author was so busy introducing all of the characters for the whole series that it almost felt like it was not a book, but almost like a precursor to the series, if that makes sense.
No,
It
but
introducing the different people that are all going to probably be have little books and features of their own. That was irritating. Like, I just wanted the book.
yes,
But I will say, it got me interested right away.
it
I
did.
read it in a day. You read it in like 4 or 5 hours. I also judge a book, if it's good, on how fast I get through it. So that's one way I judge a book.
But it was so funny because I told Jen that I wanted to read this book because it just came out and I like Sarah Blue, and this was Friday. So on Sunday I check in, I was like, hey, how's it going with the book? And she texts me, oh, I'm finished. I thought you said you were reading it. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. You were like, how far are you into it? I was like, 1%. Like, I need to finish. And I think that's my other irk with this book. Like, I liked this book. I thought it was really cute. I agree the setup was nice. They fell fast, they fell hard. There was a lot of miscommunication, and that again was something that irked me, was that if you feel a certain way, say it. Say it. And I know a lot of people don't.
Yes.
Yes, and I know that's one of the qualities that my hubster loves about me is that, like, I say how I
There's no
feel.
guessing how you feel.
No,
There's
and
no
I don't
guessing
want there
because
to
you
be.
yes, that is
I don't want
that
there
is
to
me
be
too.
any miscommunication. We're not going to circle around shit, tiptoe around. No, I will tell
Get to
you.
the heart, work through
Yes.
it, and be done.
I mean, I'm not going to say it in a mean way. If it's something that's negative, I'm not going to go out of my way to hurt your feelings, but I will say how I feel in a very nice Southern way so that there's no confusion. Like, it really just pisses me off when there's confusion. And so, like, you have all these people who feel a certain way and nothing was said. And I was just like, can you please just talk? Just talk. Just say it. And I like how Mac at one point was just like very blunt and he just blurted out. I was like,
Yes,
thank you. Thank
I
you.
love Cole in general, but I love Mac for his communication.
His awkwardness. I loved
Yeah.
it. And the other thing about that kind of felt weird when I was reading this book was that sometimes when we're reading books, there's like a quote or two that really hits the heart and just makes us like, oh, and you just have to like underline it. And you can see other people have underlined it too. And it kind of like makes you feel connected when you're reading. Like, I know that we read on Kindle Unlimited, but there's other apps too, like Fable or whatever, that you can read a book with multiple people and you can see what they underline and what's important to them. I will say that this book, I don't have really any. And that was
Yeah.
something that was weird
Disappointing.
for me. Yeah.
Disappointing. I feel like the things that I underline for quotes are typically like zingers, like one off
Yeah.
zingers, right? Like stating how you feel or stating how you're hurt or stating whatever it is, but it's like a one little chunk of text that like makes everything crystal clear. And there was not that in this book.
Yeah. Yes. The other thing at this Omegaverse, when I was scanning through, she makes a comment. She makes a comment and then she contradicts herself in the later chapters because she was like, I just want a rich pack. Like that's what she says. And that really irked me when she said
Yes.
it. And I get it. She wants a rich pack that can fly her first class or private, right?
That
She
was
said,
at the time that she said that was because she was like on a
yeah.
or
But
just
it
after a
but it
commercial
was
flight.
just her statement. She was like, this is now one of my life goals. Find a rich pack who both love and spoil me. Rich enough to fly first class at least.
But that's not at all her.
No, it
I don't
wasn't.
believe that's her. So it,
Because
it
like
it
in
was
the
like one of those things you say in frustration.
it
Uh,
would have been nice if she's like, "Oh, I'm so frustrated." Like it should be one of my life goals. Like
yes.
because later
Yes.
they talk about it and she's like they say, "And we're rich." And she's like, "It that doesn't matter." And I was like,
And you know what? When she
"I
said
know it
that,
doesn't matter, but
it
it
was
doesn't matter."
yeah, and it was earlier in the book when she says that, right during the flight or right after the flight. Like clearly she was upset. Like I get it. But in my head, I'm like, I don't want a book like I don't want to read a character like that. I
No, I
literally
didn't
don't
either.
want to read a character. So I was worried. And then as we're going through it, I'm like, oh, okay, that was just like a one, but it could make me stop reading a book. So it
Mhm.
wasn't helpful. I will say that. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only thing I highlighted was that she says, "The universe fucking hates me. I'm going into heat on a budget airline, and I fear I'd rather get sucked out of this plane before dealing with the reality of my situation."
Yeah.
And I was like, and that's when I started thinking, I was like, why don't they have these planes that are just like for Omegas or like, you know?
I know. And like there was one quote that I'll say. It says, "You're wearing my scent, and that makes you mine right now. I always protect what's mine, Shiloh."
Oh, and that is
That I
Jonah.
loved,
Oh,
and
I
that
have
was
that as well.
Jonah. I have that, but again, to have a whole book and just have like a couple. I like to highlight quotes that when I was reading it, I'm like, oh, I like this book. And so I didn't feel that way in this book. I will be
Yeah,
honest. I enjoyed the book. I read the book
I
quickly.
liked it.
It was
Yep.
enjoyable, but it wasn't something where I'm like, oh, and I want to tell my husband about it. He's like, you read a whole book and you didn't ask me about anything but the nicknames? And I'm like, it just wasn't amazing. It was good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. So spice level, let's go there.
I feel like my spice ratings are off.
This is the Megaverse spice
I
reading.
think it's a 2 for an Omega. It's a 3 for normal books. That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, there was the part at the end where all of them were
Yeah,
in
there
her.
was there was I feel like there was, like, only 4 real scenes that were spicy.
I would agree.
I mean, obviously, sh well,
I mean, a couple of them, like,
I mean,
yeah, there
'cause,
were
like
some real sexy.
yeah, well, she goes into heat in the beginning, and she obviously goes to heat on the end, right? That's typically how the Megaverses go,
Always, yeah.
and so, you have those 2 big heats, and there's probably, like, 2 or 3 other instances in the book that, what
Instances.
like, when they get close and they have little moments, but it wasn't like I don't know. I agree. I would say this was for a Omegaverse, probably a 2 on the spice,
Yeah.
and then, like, a 3 on
And I
regular.
might have rated it lower if they didn't have those scenes at the end where they were all together with her at the same time.
Mhm.
So it's like there's a level and then a number. That's kind of how my rating comes from Spice.
Yeah, this didn't, like, make me clutch my pearls,
No.
and yeah.
Yeah, but if you haven't read an Omegaverse, you might clutch your pearls reading this book if this is
You
the first.
may,
I mean,
but
I'm just
this
saying.
would be a good introduction into an Omegaverse, I would
You
say.
know what? It would, because it's a blend of kind of a rom-commy with the Omegaverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Although I
So,
say that a lot, but I agree with you.
I think it would be a great start to a yeah, it's in a rom-commy Omegaverse. Maybe not the commie.
Yeah, not the comedy part, but
Romantic
yeah.
contemporary Omegaverse.
What do you think for your overall rating?
I I liked this book. I like this book. I like the characters. I like the growth. I love the pack, right? Jonah and Mac and Cole.
Yeah, I loved the main
I
characters a
like
lot.
Shiloh. I'm glad she wasn't just out for money. I agree with you with that statement. It kinda it
Mhm.
worried me.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I felt like there was yeah, I liked it. I wish there was only one of those big dramas that they had to go through together. I wish that was more detailed and it focused more on the pack coming together and handling it, that one drama versus all the other dramas that they also had to go through. And I wish there was more pack dynamics and just interactions and
What, yeah, 101 with the guys.
yeah, and more growth and more banter. I liked it. I thought it was a good Omegaverse, but, like, I didn't love it. Like, I
And
was
so the
hoping
rating would be.
a 3.
So I did a 3 on Good Notes. Like I always do a rating when I'm done reading a book so I don't like forget. And then in my notes for this podcast, I put 3.5. And then in the middle of our podcast recording, I'm like, it's a 3. So I'm right with you. Right
Yeah.
with you.
Like, it was so cute. I just
It's definitely a good read, but I don't think it's something that you're going to leave and want to tell everyone about.
yeah, no, no. And the fact that there wasn't, like, a big one-liner for me to, like, "Oh, I love this quote."
Yes. I wanted them more obsessed. I wanted more interactions with the female character and each of the guys. Those are the
Yeah.
things I felt was missing.
Yeah, but it was a good book.
It was good. And she's a good author. I would recommend reading her books.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like some of
Mhm.
her books.
Thanks for tuning in, babes. If you loved hanging out with us today, don't forget to check the show notes for all the juicy details.
You can also discover your next book boyfriend with our epic quiz in the show notes. And of course, follow us for more spicy reads, hot takes, and unfiltered fun. Until next time, stay morally gray.
Bye.